good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very much for joining us on our next open afternoon. We've got some attendees on Zoom and some on YouTube. So in a moment, I'm just going to pass over to Martin, who's going to run this session. But I'm coming on too so that I can just monitor the chat. So if you do have any questions for Martin, please put them in the chat on either YouTube or Zoom, and we'll pick them up at the appropriate time. So without further ado, let me introduce to you my colleague Martin. He's our development manager at PTFS Europe, and he's going to take you through this afternoon's session. So for once I get a little bit of a break. So yeah, so over to you, Martin. Thank you.
Brill. Hello, everybody. So first off, an apology for the lack of camera today. As is typical Sod's Law, my camera decided to break just as I was about to enter the room. So yeah, apologies for that. However, I will mostly be sharing my screen. So if you want, you wouldn't necessarily have been seeing my friendly face anyway. As a bit of a guide to what we're going to look at today, I'm hoping to take you through a quick look at Bugzilla and navigating to find bugs of interest, possibly reporting bugs, etc., and how the community process works. And then I thought I'd do a very quick demonstration of doing a sign off. So I'm going to try and find a simplish bug to sign off, show you how to set up a sandbox and use it to do a test, and then sign off on the bug. And finally, we'll go into a bit of the live coding that was promised. So hopefully we can find a couple of relatively simple bugs to work through and show a bit of live coding. So if I try and find my share screen. Whoop. Interesting. Oh, that's because I was finding our stream. Can everybody see my screen, Fiona, for example?
Yep, you can see Bugzilla, Martin. Yep.
Okay, so this is Bugzilla. This is where in the community all of our bugs are reported and then worked on and worked through the process. It's bugs.kohacommunity.org. You don't need the Bugzilla 3, it will come up automatically. So when you first enter, you'll find, let's zoom it in a bit. I've got a big screen. You'll find you're faced with this dashboard display. You can search for bugs very quickly. So for example, if we think there's a bug in circulation, that's going to give me lots of results. We can find bugs, and the summary titles are quick display pieces. We'll get back onto the summaries in a moment. As you can probably tell from the ones listed here, some summaries are less useful than others. So as a lesson, if you're reporting bugs, if you write a good summary as the title, it will get more attention from people more quickly if you can quickly understand the problem someone is facing or the enhancement someone's requesting. I thought I'd start on some of the simple bugs to get people introduced. There's a few keywords that we use in Bugzilla to mark the easier bugs for people to get started on. We've got the Academy keyword. If you drop to the bottom of the screen, the dark bar, we've got keywords listed, and if I click on Academy, it's a pre-saved search for all of our Academy, which are bugs that have been marked as simple or easy to begin on, and they're marked as that so that you can also go into the IRC channels or the chat channels and ask for help to help fix them if they're your first, and find a mentor. So this is the Academy set. You'll see, hang on, I'm just going to get the zoom bar out of the way. We've got a series of columns, bug IDs and products. Everything's under the Koha product here, and then components for the different areas of Koha. And then the more important piece is summary and status. So if a bug is marked as new, it means no one has worked on it yet. So you can grab any of those bugs to work on. If a bug is marked as assigned, it usually means that someone has started work on it, and then needs sign off. is if you're looking for bugs that you don't want to code yourself, but you want to start on the testing route. These are really important ones and good starting places for getting started on signing things off and testing. So if we take a quick look through one, on the actual bug screen itself, you've got obviously your quick summary, which can be edited to make it clearer. And then usually in the first comment, there's a more detailed description of what the problem is. Sometimes it can be a bit technical. Sometimes, in most cases, hopefully it's a clear description of what's gone wrong and what the result should be if you've fixed the issue. So in this case, it's a little bit technical. Let's look at a bug I've prepared slightly or checked for earlier. You can search by number as well. Oh, I've just searched by the wrong one, 254. So this is one that our very own David Roberts has worked on. So he has said that the shelving location should be on a new line in the holdings table. So that's a useful summary. And then hopefully he describes why in the first comment. So in the staff client, if an item has a long shelving location description, it displays on the same line as the home library, which doesn't look very good. It ought to be on the next line. And he's even attached a nice screenshot to show what he means. So I know that he means here the italic whoops, part of in the home library column. The Centerville is the library, new material shelf is that item location that he's talking about, and it spreads across two lines and is broken strangely. That probably leads me nicely onto the Sandboxes system, actually. So we can go ahead and test this one. So this is the next sort of tool that I think is really useful for everybody to know about. So we've got a Sandboxes system that allows setting up Koha instances to play with and to apply bugs to those Koha instances so that you can test, and then it finally allows a sign-off system. So to start off, we want to create a new sandbox. I'm going to put my name in. We don't do any form of validation checks on names, so you don't have to put those details in fully. However, if you are signing off, it's useful to have a real name and real user in case we need to try and follow up on any queries or questions as developers. You have to give your sandbox a name. So we are going to look at bug 25462. So I'm going to give that sandbox number. A little trick of the trade here is I want to prove the problem before I prove the patch resolves it. So I'm actually going to leave the bug number completely empty here, which will mean I check out a current version of Koha, so that the master, the development branches, so that I can see the problem before I see the solution. And then the rest of these boxes I'm going to leave at the defaults. So Mark Flavor, everybody in the UK certainly is using Mark 21 that I know of, but you can similarly use Unimark as your test data. You can use a branch from Git. So some bugs, the bug number, the bugs are attached are more difficult to use. And so we allow you to use a Git Checkout. A developer will usually give you the advice on whether to use that or not. And then description and notes, they're more for a personal note, so you can identify I'm testing bug 25462, for example, and it will display on the next screen. So if I submit that, we will have a provision pending, so the server's being set up for us in the background, and that usually takes 5 to 10 minutes, so I can carry on my guide of Bugzilla whilst we're waiting for that to come back or come up. Let's what was I going to show next? Okay, so we've showed the Academy keyword. There is also various status keywords which we can which are used to get immediately to quick searches. Again, one of my favorite places to go is the needs sign off queue. So that's the queue of bugs that have been written. So there's code there and attached to Bugzilla. But these need testing. So that's where we could really do with as much help as we can get. So that the search gets us 174 bugs in this needs testing queue. We can sort on the severity of the bug, which is often quite useful, and the date of last change. So when I'm looking for bugs to test, I will tend to sort on severity first. So if it's an enhancement versus a major bug or a minor bug, and then I'll sort on changed so that I'm getting the newer bugs that are more likely to still apply. You may well find some bugs, because the code in the background's moved on so far, will need to be updated to continue to apply to the new normal, the new base branches. And then it's just a case of picking an area, hopefully on the summary, that you understand, and then clicking through, applying to Sandbox, and running through the test system. Let's see if it's still provisioning. We can have a quick look at where it's at. So that's suggesting we are provisioned. Let's see if we can log in. No. I think our sandboxes have had a few issues in the last few days. Let's see if the Bywater ones are working. It worked just before this call. So we're not the only provider of sandboxes out there. There are a few public sandboxes available to the community and to any of our customers. You can find a list of all of them on the community wiki, and it's at the bottom of the page. So I'm going to look at the Bywater ones. So there's a few here which look promising. Let's stick the details in again. And Koha. So we'll have to wait another couple of minutes, I'm afraid, for that one.
In the meantime, Martin, can you answer a question for
Definitely.
us, please? So Henry asked, are Academy and Academy the same? So when you were highlighting the Academy keyword from the grey bar at the bottom, in the two lines, so in the middle line there's Academy with a small a, and in the bottom line there's Academy with an uppercase A. Are they the same?
They are indeed exactly the same. I think it was a typo in the early days of when we first created the label. In fact, I could probably remove that.
Yeah, I thought I said that I thought they were the same, but just wanted you to confirm, so thank you.
Saved searches. Academy. Where's the other Academy coming from? There we go. This is because I'm an administrator of the Bugzilla instance, so I can hopefully hide that. There we go. Now we just have the one. Thank you. You fixed the bug, Henry.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's less confusing for people. So, bro, thank you.
We should really fix the additional to being additional, not additional as well, and not being doubled up. There is also the dashboard, which has links to similar saved searches. So again, the dashboard is quite a developer-focused dashboard, but it's quite a helpful tool for seeing how Koha's code is developing on a kind of day-to-day basis. So at a quick glance, we can see how many patches and bugs are being pushed on a day-to-day basis on this nice graph in the middle. Blue being the current development branch, and then the green, orange, and red being the various iterations of older stable, so our supported branches. And then there's a release once a month of those stable branches. So you can see we've been doing lots of work, particularly in the last couple of days, on this development branch because we're coming up to a release. So the next release is scheduled for around the 22nd of this month, and you can see we're working as fast as we can to get the last bits in. These will all be bug fixes at this point. We should have passed the point of having done all of our enhancements this cycle. You can also see who's pulling their weight this month. So you can see that who's doing a lot of sign off. And then similarly, you can drill down into months and years. You can see we've got wonderful Sally from Cheshire has been doing a huge amount of sign off and testing the last few months this year. And then you can see who's doing lots of quality assurance, etc. And then the final kind of areas of real interest for clicking through, if you're looking for inspiration of things to sign off and look at, these kind of highlights or summaries of most recent sign-offs and oldest bugs to look at. It's just a nice view of what we can do. Did I just hear another question come through? I can't see the chat at the same time.
Nope.
Ah, I thought
nope.
I heard one.
You're okay.
Okay, let's check on our box. There we go. So we should be provisioned. They've got the same bug. I think a bug has crept in on the master branch. Jonathan Druitt, the release manager, pushed a series of bugs like 1 minute before this call. So obviously he's broken something in the sandbox system. Let's see if one of these ones is set up and working. Borrow someone else's. There we go. So that one is obviously, it was set up before the branches changed. So we can have a quick look. So you would get, as we can show here, a system that's fully set up with your bugs applied, and it's got a default password of Koha. That's just to make it easy for people to log in and remember. This comes with a set of basic test data, but you may well find on quite a lot of cases that you'll need to work through a test routine to create some data of some sort, and then work on some of those fixes. And we can adopt this one to test our bug. Let's have a look. So David has said in the staff client, if an item has etc., and then he's written a nice test plan for his bug here. So we want to assign a shelving location with a long description to an item. So let's find, help me here, Fiona. How do I add a long description to a
location?
To a location.
Yes, so go to the administration and authorized values.
There we go. Authorized values and location. Oops. Oops.
There we go.
It's always harder when it's in front of people, isn't it? So the new materials shelf is actually quite long already. Let's just add a little bit more. So now let's find ourselves an item to add to. I don't know the test data on this system.
Yeah, through economics, that's always my go-to search.
Good choice. So we'll look at Koha marks. We can see at the moment the general stacks ones are fine. Let's edit and change our location to new. Save the changes. Head back to our record. Oh, not that. There we go. Refresh the page because my change should have fixed. Wow, in this case, I have such a wide screen that it doesn't matter. Let's cheat and make my screen a little narrower so that it goes across 2 lines. There we go. So it looks a little weird going across the 2 lines. So we've proved that the issue exists and is there. And now we can apply the fix upon it. Oh. So in this case, I can go to actions. Oops. And whoop. Everything's going slow for me. Apply patches. Apply patches. There we go. So what was the bug number? 25462. 25462. And submit. And that should apply the fix to the branch. So we should find that's now corrected. And because in this case, actually, let's look and see if he's remembered to add this to the test plan. So he has said, assign the shelving location with a long description to an item. See that it displays on the same line as home library in details page. Apply the patch and see that shelving location is now on a new line. However, there are follow-ups where they say, please change the CSS so that we're not just using line breaks. So we will need to, there we go. Owen Leonard has added an additional patch and he has suggested that you need to rebuild the CSS. Now there is a nice option to do that on Sandboxes now, build CSS. So we can let that run momentarily. It's doing quite a lot in the background here. So it's using our coded style sheet to build a minimized and updated style sheet that the browser understands. And that should mean we're done. So 7.5 seconds. Now, if I go back to the sandbox and refresh the page, we should find that it appears on the new line, which is passing our tests. All of them now appear on that second line. So if we're all agreed that that's passing the requested test plan, then we can sign the bug off. So we've happily tested. Now we need to go back to the Sandbox manager and we can do the final action of signing off on the patches. So in this case, it was Anna Osterman who set up our original Sandbox as a testing point. So I'm not going to follow through simply because I don't want to assign a sign off in their name, as that would be a little bit naughty of me. So the page is clear. It would take a name, so which is by default the person who set up the Sandbox, and an email, and the bug number you're trying to sign off, Again, they set it up with 25462. Oh, that is our bug number. So that would do our sign off in this case, and it would update Bugzilla with a signed off. It would reattach a patch on each of these with your signed off signature to say you're the person that's tested it, and it would add a comment saying signed off at a sandbox right at the bottom. I'll follow through that on the more technical way of doing it. That gives us a good way of using, a good example of how to use a sandbox to do a sign off. Whilst we're here, is there any questions on how to use sandboxes or anything I've done so far?
There is a question. Again, from Henry, is there a way to have a sandbox running on an older version? For example, 1911.
There was, I'm not 100% sure now. So in the past, you could put the Git tags into our box. So if I go back to the Sandbox manager and the create page.
So currently, is it defaulting to test against master? Is that?
Yes,
yeah.
It defaults to test against master. So unless something's gone awry, which I have a horrible feeling may have done with this recent push, you could put a branch version in. So you can put, instead of bug number, you can put 1911.x, which will pull in the 1911 version of current development Koha. So that will be ahead of something you may have installed, because it's depending on where in the month of the cycle we're at, it will be the latest pushes to that stable branch. So it should be there. I'm not going to test right this second, simply because I know the sandboxes are broken from another push that's recently happened. Are there any other questions?
So you mentioned about signing off using the sandbox. When you sign it off in that manner, should it automatically adjust the status in Bugzilla, or is that separate?
It should automatically,
because Henry says he doesn't think it is, so that's maybe something to pick up on outside of this.
If it's not, then that's a bug that's crept in.
Yeah, so if we could just flag that, that'd be good.
Brill. I will note that right down. Unfortunately, the sandboxes are only really maintained by myself and Kyle Hall at Whitewater. So we don't often see when things are wrong. So if you do spot issues with sandboxes, do feel free to drop me a line directly or report it in IRC and someone will catch me. We try and keep on top of them.
Okay. Jonathan Druart says, I think he's referring back to the can you put the sandbox in another version? He says you can still do it. Use the enter commit ID or tag name.
There we go.
Okay.
It's become, it's its own box now. Thank you, Jonathan. That's really helpful.
He's on YouTube.
Excellent. That's really helpful. Yes. So you can definitely go for a specific version. And it's actually slightly clearer and cleaner now, rather than having to use the bug number for it. Anyone else got any further questions?
That's it for now.
Fantastic. Shall we have a go at a little bit of the more live coding then?
Yes,
so this will get a little bit more complicated looking. Wrong terminal. So this is we're moving into my development system here. So
Martin, can you move the chat thing away from your screen?
Yes.
Great, it's right in the middle. Thank you.
I didn't realize that Zoom's chat appeared on video sharing. Yeah,
well, neither did I, to be honest, but I saw it. Thanks.
There we go. So I've zoomed in a bit. Is that text legible for people? Or should I make it a bit bigger still?
It's fine for me. Yeah, that's better, yeah.
Okay, so we can see here we're on my development server. inside my Git Checkout, which is the code clone, and I'm on the master branch. So the master branch is the current developmental version of Koha. And as I know, I think Jonathan has pushed in the last few minutes. If I do a git pull, that will check and tell me that the branch is fully up to date, which is good. As we did a quick sign off of 25462, I am going to check out a new bug, a new branch, 25462, and I'm going to track upstream master. So I'm checking out a new branch that is a copy of the current development version. And I am going to apply 25462, which is the bug we've just tested, using BZ, which is a Bugzilla plugin that we use. I cryptographically sign everything that I apply and sign off on. It's not a requirement of the Koha guidelines, but it gives some more confidence in making sure that the right person or the person signing off is exactly who they say they are. So we're going to we are going to add our signature to the previous 3 commits here. Oops. So we can see it's added a signed off by Martin Renvoize and my email address. That's all automatic because of the way my development server's set up. You just add or assign your name and email to your Git config, and I can do that for all 3 patches as we tested all 3. And then I'm going to upload the same 3 patches back to Bugzilla with my sign off, and then I will be commenting and setting the status for it in a moment. So git bz attached says attach the list of commits that I'm working on to bug 25462, and head ..hat means the current point in my branch, go back 3, and then take everything that's happened since then. So it will be 3 commits, but it will also list them in a moment, so I can confirm we've got 3 commits to upload to the system. Attach yes. Bugzilla's busy today. There we go. Attached 1. Attached 2. And attached 3. So if I go back to Bugzilla and refresh the page, we should find.
And meanwhile, I've just had an email notification saying that this has been updated because I'm CC'd on this bug.
Excellent. That works.
It might be worth pointing out as well.
Yep, definitely. So that shows that it's now got my name and the current time. So it shows the 3 bugs that I attached have been updated. I opted not to use git bz to update the status, and that's more personal preference. You can use git bz in line to do that, but I like to check that the patches have got there, and then my next step is to change the status. Tested on a Sandbox on live testing YouTube. There we go. So I've tested it on the Sandbox. All works as expected. it's always good to give a little comment to what testing you've undertaken, and that it's worked nicely. Adding the little YouTube in there means that if anybody wants to double check how I tested, they can go back to the YouTube and have a quick look, or they can contact me and ask. And then I'm going to save. So this bug has now been signed off and has been moved into the QA teams pile to take a look at. So that's worked through that process from start to finish. It's a shame we couldn't use the sandbox to display it this time, but we've caught up using the background way. So let's find a bug to work on. Let's get rid of a few tabs before I lose track of where I am. So let's choose a nice easy bug. I'm going to use the Academy keyword. Did I actually click? Yes. So I have chosen this one and have decided I think this is a reasonably useful and easy bug to fix. So bug 26847, make borrower category code accessible in all pages of the OPAC. I can see that could be useful to people wanting to use jQuery, for example, and then the description is nice and clear in the first comment. So it would be useful to see which borrower category a user has when they're logged in. This way, a library could personalize the information with JavaScript to certain categories. So on every page, for example, there's data borrower number and data branch code. Maybe here it would be suitable for data borrower category. Okay, so he's given a nice clear description of the problem or what he wants to happen, and he's even given a little clue here for us to say it already works for some other fields. Maybe we could add this field for us. So my first point is going to be a checkout of a new branch to work on. So I'm going to check out bug 26847, and again I want to check out based on upstream master, so the current development system, the current development code. So we've got a nice new branch to work on. We've not got anything else, any other bugs applied to get in the way or to confuse. And yeah, so that's a clean workspace. Let's have a look at what files and what directories Koha is made up of. So this is all of the Koha code. You can't see me gesticulating, but this is the Koha code that runs everything within the system. Two of the sort of important functional areas are in the Koha directory and the C4 directory. Those are where a lot of the main modules of functionality exists, and then each of the lowercase directories is the controller. So so you've got the code in C4 and Koha are the modules for governing the logic, and then hopefully the controller scripts just contain how that logic should then be displayed to screen. And then there's templates which actually do the logic of putting the display together at the final point in your browser. So he has said that data borrower number already exists. Let's look for it as an example to find out where it's been placed in the past, and hopefully we will find a unit test that shows gives us a good idea of how to test for this. I'm going to do test-driven development today. So we can see it's in lots of files. But if I scroll up, we can see that there is a regression test to check whether this data borrower number element appears on the page, and it looks like it was added in 209.21. So I am going to write a test based on similar code. You'll find quite a lot of development. We're all cheeky as developers. We all like to steal other people's work. So if there's an example of how to do something well already in existence, it's no bad thing having a quick look. It means it helps lead to consistency, and it's a quick way to sort of get up to speed for the new developer. It's worth bearing in mind that there's not all examples are good examples, but you can very quickly ask on the community groups IRC or the mailing list to get a little bit of help, and people will more than happily advise. So in this case, we are looking at, there's a nice test here for the borrower number. I am going to add one to check for data category code. And it's going to be, so in this case, I'm just changing all of the cases to category code because that's how I intend to implement it. And we're no longer bug 20921. This will be bug 26847. And because we've added one test, there's now 3. So we need to update the number of tests planned to be run. And just for clarity, let's also update the title of the subtest as well. So that's our test written. I am going to add it into our Git record. So this will be one commit. Commits all have to take a similar form of display. So we've got bug 26847 and add unit and a quick description. So unit test for category code in, it was OPAC, isn't it? Yeah. In mast head, which is the file. So this unit test adds a regression test for the addition of category code into the mast head of the staff client. So we are adding a unit test that tests that once a user is logged in, we can see the category code in the markup. Okay, I'm going to save that. So we now have, if I show the git log, which is a log of all commits, we can see our unit test is right at the top of the pile. And I'm going to use a testing environment to prove that that test now fails. So what was the test called? Selenium regressions. Selenium regressions. And it should prove that the code doesn't exist yet by failing the test. So it's running through subtest 1 to 3. And there we go. Not okay. OPAC borrow number branch code. So that final one goes to show that we have got a successfully failing test. So we've written our test for test-driven development. So now our next step is to make that test pass. We don't need to see the rest of this test run. So how does that data get set? So if we go back up to our search, we can see that the masthead file here, so this is a template on the OPAC. So we've got the OPAC directory, the theme, EN is the default language, so everything gets coded into EN and when it's submitted to Koha, and then the additional languages are installed and they take a copy of the EN and replace the strings with a translated version. And then includes is a group of files that are included on other pages, and the masthead I know happens to be the very top or the header part of the of every page. So that's quite a useful place as he asked for on every page. That's a really useful place to add it in. So I'm going to adopt a similar approach. So let's take a look at that file. And let's find where those elements are set. Data dash. There we go. So here is the span with the class logged in username. So we can see there's a nice span there, and it contains the two pieces of data we know already exist. So data borrow number and data branch code. So we can see from this that we are using the logged in user variable that is passed to the template. That variable will be getting set in either one of the modules or a controller. In this case, I happen to know logged in user comes from the authentication module. Just to show what that looks like. That's in C4 authentication PM. Logged in user. So that's actually a nice description of it here. Template name is then used to find the correct template for the page. The authenticated user's details are loaded into the template in the logged in user variable, which is a Koha patron object. So that's a really useful piece of detail. It means I know I can access any field in the patron or in the borrower's table directly just using dot notation. So in this case, we should be able to do a simple data dash, we called it category code, equals, let's in user dot category code. We need to add a filter. So for all code in Koha, now you have to have a filter added to any of these template variables. It's part of our security process. So it's to it makes sure that you can't pass JavaScript into a field somewhere and then have that JavaScript actually executed in the browser of the end user or the end person looking at this. So we say it must come out as HTML or a string or JavaScript or raw, depending on what we're expecting the data inbound to be. So that's worth noting. So we'll save our file. Let's take a look and see if our test now passes. 5 points to someone who knows what the answer here is going to be. What do you think, Fiona? Quick.
Oh. I think it's going to fail.
Excellent.
There was a typo.
Yes, there was. You spotted the error. Excellent. So this shows the advantage of test-driven development. It really shows that we can prove that our code is working or not working very quickly. So if I add the G back in here, I hope this time it will pass. So if we run again, this time it should pass because I corrected my typo. Excellent. So the test now passes. Brilliant. So I can save that change and add the changed file to Git and commit it. What does it not like? Find undecided. I think in this case, this is a red herring. So I have a series of tests set up to automatically run before I can commit code. So in this case, I think one of those tests is throwing a red herring. But yeah, this is additional setup on my end, and I've clarified I don't think I need it, so I'm going to commit without running those tests, which is a no verify. So we need to give a nice clear title. So again, it's bug 26847. And what did we do? We add data category code to master to staff pages. So in this case, so we've given it a very quick description. Now we're going to give it a slightly longer summary and the important piece, a test plan. So this patch adds the data category code attribute to the logged in user span for all pages in the staff client. Test plan. So first part of the test plan, we've written a test so we can run the unit test to prove that the unit test works and doesn't work. So apply first patch, run and verify unit test fails. 2, apply second patch, verify unit test now passes. Now those are quite technical steps for somebody. We should also include a way of doing the test for the human end user. So navigate to staff client and login and verify that data category code is present in the logged in user span in the client. So this is still going to be slightly difficult for a complete novice, but I will show how to verify that in a moment. So we can save our commit, and let's show how this now appears. So if we again log into my development system, I need to plug my headset in before I disappear.
So Martin, you've logged in. You were talking about the staff side.
Yes.
And when you were writing that up, but it's actually the OPAC, we think. Well, Henry's put a comment on saying it was a patch, not for the OPAC.
Let's relook at the bug. Useful to borrow category logged in every page, for example. Good question. Has he actually said OPAC or staff? OPAC. Good call. So I've added it. Hang on a moment whilst I plug myself in. Right, I'm back. Thank you, Henry. So actually, I've done it for the staff, I think. Which file did I do? Oh no, I did it for the OPAC, but I am going to amend the message because you're right. I wrote staff, but I mean OPAC. There we go. And that also needs changing there too. OPAC. Whoop. Thank you, Henry. saved me a little bit of embarrassment, although this is now live on YouTube, so I'm sure I will get it in the neck from some of my fellow developers. Add data category opaque. Nope, there's still a mistake there. Pages in the opaque. There we go. That's better. Yeah, so that's better on our commit message. I was about to show that it appears. So we are not logged in yet, so I need to log in. If I log in, you can see I've got my naughty David account, who's got lots of things overdue. And if I look at inspect the page to look at David, we can see, where is the logged in user one? There we go, logged in user. Logged in username, here's our span. We have data borrower number, data branch code, and most importantly, our new data. Where's it gone? Most importantly, our new data category code with a category code of S because he is a staff user. So we've proved the point there. So I'm now happy as a developer to go and apply a patch, attach the patch to Bugzilla 26847. And it is the last 2 patches. So I need to apply step back 2 and apply everything since then. So yep, those are my 2 pieces attached to Bugzilla. Now if I go back to the bug, refresh the page, we should now find that there are 2 patches attached, and I can now mark it as needs sign off, so ready for someone to test. So that's kind of a nice simple bug to work through nice and quickly, and give it a little taste of how my day job works. I think that's probably covered us for time, but I'm open to some questions if anybody has any. Yeah, so I'm open to answering any quick questions if there are any, but otherwise, thank you for joining us.
Has anybody got any final questions for Martin? Oh, yep, Henry says thank you, that was fascinating. I echo that. Most of you know me and know that I'm certainly no developer, so it's good to see the back end and what goes on. I find that very interesting. So yeah, it's a good overview. Thank you, Martin. Just to remind everybody that this will be available on YouTube going forward, so you will be able to watch it back. And if you do have any questions after the session, feel free to email us. So you can email myself or Martin using our names. So for example, fiona.borthwick@ptfs-europe.com, or you can just send an email to info@ptfseurope.com. And we'll pick them up from there.
Yeah, my last little mention is we've got a bit of a mentoring program available in the Koha community. So if you want to get involved and have your hand held a little bit through your first sign-offs or first code contributions, do just speak up either directly to me or via the community RLC chat channels. I'm happy to be a mentor and give anybody a little helping hand to get started.
Okay, brilliant. Well,
Thank you.
if there's no further questions, we'll leave it there. So thank you very much, everybody, for attending. Hope you found it useful. I'm not sure what our next open session will be. I think it'll be in January, so we will send out some communications on that when we know a bit more. But as we've said in past sessions, if you've got any ideas for us of anything that you would like us to do a session on, please let us know, because we're always very open to ideas. Saves us thinking about them as well. Okay, so yeah, thanks very much, everybody, and yeah, speak to you soon. Thanks, and thanks, Martin. Okay, doke. Thank you.